What's going on, guys? It's Hayden. I hope you're having a good day so far. And today we're going to be talking about the rule of 72, which is a really cool rule that you can use to calculate investment returns in your head really fast. Quick side note before we get into the video, I'm going to try to cut down my video lengths from 8 to 12 minutes to roughly 4 or 5 because I think it'll make them more watchable and it'll be more just, clean and concise content rather than me kind of just rambling on about things. So with that being said, the rule of 72 was first referenced in the year 1494 by a mathematician named Luca Pacioli in a book that he published called Summa de Arithmetica. Some people think the rule may have been discovered before him by someone else because he doesn't really reference anything or give any insight as to how he figured it out. The rule of 72 is a useful formula that you can use to calculate things quickly in your head, specifically how fast something will double given a particular growth rate. The most common use of the rule is actually to calculate how long it'll take an investment to double given a certain rate of return, and the formula even takes compound interest into account, which is really important. It can be applied to some other situations too, which I'll give you an example of in just a minute. So how do you calculate it? Well, there's three different parts of the equation. There's the number 72, which is the simple part, and then there are two variables. One is the rate of return and the other is the number of years that the investment will take to double. Keep in mind, this is just an approximate calculation. It works best for rates of return between 6% and 10%. You can use it outside of this range, but it will get a little less accurate the farther outside the range you go. So for the first example, we'll just keep it simple and say that a certain investment is going to get a 10% return per year, and we want to figure out how long it'll take that investment to double. So the way we'll do that is we'll just take the number 72 and we'll divide it by 10, which is equal to 7.2, and 7.2 is the number of years roughly that it will take that investment to double. However, it also works the other way around. So if we have the number of years that we want the investment to double in, we can use that to figure out what rate of return we need to get to make that happen. So let's just say we have an investment that we would like it to double in 8 years. We take 72 divided by 8, and that gives us 9. So that means we need to get a 9% return per year to make that investment double in 8 years. Some other economic uses for it are to calculate GDP growth, inflation, and also some population growth. An example that's really relevant to our situation right now in the US is that our inflation is at a little over 7% currently on a yearly basis. And inflation is just prices. So if we take 72 and divide it by 7%, it's a little bit over 10, meaning that if we were to stay at 7% inflation over the next 10 years, our prices would essentially double over the next 10 years. And if prices were to double, that means that $1 today would essentially only be worth 50 cents in 10 years, which is a very scary thought. There's no way this will actually happen because inflation is not going to stay at 7% per year over the next 10 years. The Fed just wouldn't let that happen, but it's still cool and scary, to do the calculation. Like I said, the rule could also work for population growth. So if you have a certain rate of population growth in a certain country or city or in a location or whatever it is, you could just plug that into the formula, and then the number of years that you get out will be the number of years that it would take the population of that place to double. So I actually use this rule all the time, mostly when I'm thinking about spending money on something. And what I'll do is while I'm thinking about spending the money, I'll calculate the rule in my head and think about if I invested the money instead, how much I could have in the future. So let's just say I'm thinking about spending $3,000 on some new object that I want. What I will do is think about, well, if I invested this $3,000 at the average stock market return of 8%, 72 divided by 8 is 9. So it'll take my $3,000 roughly 9 years to double. And I don't know why, but for some reason it's easier for me to compare, do I want this thing, this object, or do I want $6,000 coming back to me in 9 years? It just makes it easier for me to compare. I can't really explain it. It may be useful for you guys too in certain situations, so that's why I thought I would make a video about it, and I also just think it's pretty cool. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. As always, turn on the post notifications so you can see when I upload a video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.